Hey, world builders, welcome back to Build Together. This is day 203. Today's prompt is, what is a task in your world that is largely automated, whether through robotics or more general engineering? So I wrote about the Meyda mill in Attovia. Now, in Attovia, originally mills were done in the more traditional sense. If you had a place where the water was typically believed to be safe, then sometimes you had water mills, so they're less common than windmills were, which were kind of all over the place, so that you had something powered by the wind that could grind your grain into flour, specifically usually hajik or something along those lines. However, early on in the Age of Nations, not working, which is a field of working all about imparting change on objects, was devised that was a simpler version of a theorized version of a not working that was to spin something with a lot of torque. And this allowed people in the early Age of Nations to create a mill that, when requiring the backup, when there wasn't enough wind to power it, you could give it a few chips for this not working to function, and you would get a continually processing mill. As time went on, this meta circle that was being used was getting more and more efficient and simpler, and it costs less and less to the point where very few mills are repaired if the blades go into disrepair, because it is much cheaper to just keep funding the mill to push itself via the meta circle. You power it with chips and you kind of forget about it. The cost to repair the windmill's actual blades would be much more than that. And at this point, like, if you had enough money to build a new mill, you often don't create blades because the overhead of adding the blades is a lot more expensive than it is to run the mill for like years with just chips. This has resulted in a lot of really interesting mills that have varying states of decay or derelictness in their blades because they're still being used. A lot of them have been modified, and that you can tell they were originally built at a time before the Meta mills were super popular. But now that they've been converted over, all those vestiges of something that needed to be powered by water or by the wind is gone or being allowed to rot away. What is a task in your world that is largely automated, whether through robotics or more general engineering? Thanks for building together.